And the recording is going. And I am going to mute folks now too. So everyone is muted. And you will be able to ask questions at the end. And then also there is a screen chat. Let me find that real quick. Cindy, can you tell me where that's at?
Lower right-hand corner. Down below it says invite participants, share screen chat. And you can click on that.
Okay, mine's showing up at the top.
It's in the middle.
Okay, hold on a minute.
That's what others should be. That's what end users should be seeing.
Okay. That's participants. There's more. All right, I am not seeing it. So Cindy, if it's okay with you, I'm going to mute everybody but you. And if you see something in chat, can you just jump in and let me know?
Sure.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Okay, and Cindy, where are you? Okay, so testing, Cindy, you can hear me?
I can. I'll keep myself muted. I can unmute.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Well, welcome everybody to tonight's Animal Communication Conference call. I'm so glad to have everybody here on the call because there is nothing in the world better than, as far as I'm concerned, than talking to like-minded people about animal communication. And if you have questions, like Cindy and I were trying to figure out, on the right-hand side, you should see a place where you can put them in. Put your questions in the chat, and then Cindy will just say, hey, Janet, there's a question that's going on, and we will get that addressed. So I'm going to go ahead and start it. We are recording right now. And this beautiful horse that you see, this beautiful red quarter horse, that's my horse Shiloh. And he passed away when he was 25 years old, and this was taken when he was about 17 years old. And Shiloh, very much a communicator, very much wanted to be connected with people when he was here in the physical and also as an angel animal. So he might show up tonight. But what he said one time when I was chatting with him was tell people not to limp along with their animal communication skills. Now is the time for people to really learn to talk to animals and to listen to us too, for we have much to share. And there are no truer words than that. It is time for us to connect with the animals, and we'll be talking about that a little bit more. That's me and Shiloh, and the world of animal communication, it truly is a very unique and it's a wondrous world. And I find that as we start connecting into that world of animal communication, that it changes us. It changes us, and even if we decide not to connect with the animals again, we can't turn back from the way it has changed us. So in that sense, it's magical. And I truly believe that we all do better when all creatures do better. And from my perspective, of course you could say that's biased, but this is still my perspective. What is really great is that animal communication is, in my opinion, in my experience, definitely a way to help all creatures do better. We've already talked about everybody is muted now, except for Cindy, and then she can pipe in with the questions if there are any. My name is Janet Roper. I am an animal communicator and an educator. I am based in Missoula, Montana, and if you've been watching the news lately, you might know that Missoula is literally surrounded by fires. So I have my water here, and I'll be sipping on it because I have a sore throat, and I'll be coughing, and it's because of the smoke that we have in the area. Excuse me. I am an animal communicator and educator. I am on the shamanic path. I am in the second year of study in an intensive shamanic program. So in 2018, I'll be able to add that to my toolbox of skills that I use in connecting with the animals and helping people connect with the animals. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes, how that blossoms, because it's already started to blossom. I am also a blogger. You can find my blog at janetroper.com. And a Reiki 2 practitioner. And that's one of the tools. I don't really promote it myself as a Reiki practitioner, but when I'm doing communication, sometimes that tool in the toolbox needs to be used. So it's there in case I need it. I've practiced animal communication my entire life. And when I was growing up, I was told, oh, Janet, you know, don't talk to the squirrel in the backyard. The people will think you're crazy. What will the neighbors say? So that got squashed down in me. And, you know, as a good daughter, I did what my parents told me to do. And I started not talking to the squirrel in the backyard and ignoring it. And then you'll hear in a little bit later how a dog led me into reconnecting with my intuitive skills and into the world of animal communication. My focus in animal communication, it truly is the animal-human bond. And you'll notice I put animal first, animal-human instead of human-animal, because that is a paradigm that needs to be changed in our society. We live in a place, and it's our culture, and it's been, we've been trained to do this, that because we're human, we're on the higher up. We're higher up than the animals on the scale, so to speak, the sliding scale. And, you know, I don't experience it like that, quite frankly. I experience that we are in relationship with the animals, keeping in mind that a dog knows how to bite, a cat knows how to bite and scratch, a horse knows how to kick. They are different species, and as different species, they will act as they do within their species because, you know, we humans act as we do within our species. But that doesn't mean that we have power over that species. To me, it's finding a way so that we are in relationship with that species. All right. Oh, there's the chat. Oh, thanks. Cindy just said that she loves that I say animal human. Wow, I'm so glad that little orange light popped up so I could find the chat. Yay! The other thing that I focus on in animal communication is people who are grieving the loss of their animals, and whether that is through death and dying, whether that is anticipating the death of an animal through hospice, whether that is through the loss of an animal. For instance, with the hurricane going on now, and so many animals and people have been separated. Part of what I do is help the people who would be grieving that, help them come to terms with it. Not only come to terms with it, but give them actual practical things to do. And here's how you can help your animal, and here's where you can look for your animal. I do want to make it clear that I do not do lost animal cases. I did at one point, and that is, I decided not to do it. That's not my specialty. I am very cheerfully owned and managed by one cat. My cat Billy passed away in February. So Raven, you might hear him meowing. And my dog Max is here. You very well might hear him barking. And as you met my horse Shiloh before, that beautiful red horse, he sometimes pops in. And actually, to be quite truthful, he might pop in where you're at too. So if you are on the call tonight and you are experiencing this energy of this big one-eyed red horse, okay? And you don't even have to be a horse lover, but you're just getting the sense of you're thinking about a red horse. Or you're thinking about, well, I don't think about horses. Why does this horse keep coming to mind? Yes, it could be because you saw a picture of him earlier, okay? But it could also be that Shiloh was there. The great thing about working with angel animals is they are with us when we ask them to be. And Shiloh is very respectful of his boundaries. So if Shiloh should come visit you tonight and you don't want him there, just say, you know, Shiloh, would you mind leaving? Maybe coming back another time. And you don't even have to add that about coming back another time. So we'll see what happens here with Shiloh. And so you are in the right place tonight if you have a deep love and a respect for animals. Part of the reason I love doing these calls is like we're all birds of a feather flocking together. And it's so terrific to experience that. You're in the right place tonight. Hold on 1 minute. Excuse me. If you have a feeling that the animals have been trying to connect with you, for instance, your dog is looking at you with those big eyes, you know, that look that the dogs can give, and you're going, what the heck's going on? I know you want something, but I don't know what you want. So if you've experienced that, we're going to be talking about that tonight, and I'll be giving you some ideas how you can connect with your dog and see what's going on. You're also in the right place tonight if you've always wanted to talk to the animals, but you didn't know where to start. Because, you know, quite frankly, there's like a gazillion and 7 places that you can start. And sometimes in having that many options to choose from, sometimes we can just get frozen. It's like, I don't know what to do first. I don't know where to go first. I don't know where to click first. So if you've been having that, this is a good solid starting place for you. And then, you know, depending on what you find out tonight, there are other places that you could go, as well as working with me. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this conference works with you tonight, because I truly believe that you are bringing energy here, and that what we're talking about is also taking energy to you. What we'll be talking about tonight is how I got my start as an animal communicator, what I love about animal communication, and you've probably already guessed that I do love animal communication. We'll be talking about why it's so helpful. We'll be talking about the question I most asked. We'll be talking about what animal communication is and what it is not, how it works. We're going to be doing an exercise tonight. I call it the circle of quiet. That's going to help you center in. And then after that exercise, we're going to give you the chance, if you want to, okay? And let me just say right now that everything here on this conference call is if you want to, if you feel comfortable, okay? This conference call is at your comfort level, so you can make it at whatever level you feel most comfortable with. So if I'm asking something and you don't feel comfortable participating, that's cool. That's cool, okay? We'll be talking after the practice ways that we can stay together. Oops, I just lied to you. Immediately after the practice, we'll be talking about how that was for you, if you care to share. And after that, we'll be talking about ways that we can stay connected. I do invite you to take notes tonight, because there is a surprise at the end. Those notes can be screenshots. They can be jotting down on the back of an envelope. They can be, you know, if you're working in Microsoft or whatever that is. I'm on a Mac, so I'm not familiar. Word, if you're working in Word, you can put your notes in there, because afterwards, if you take notes tonight, and if you're interested, I'm going to ask you to send those notes to me. And this dog that you see right here, that dude is Teddy, and he is now an angel animal, and he is the one who gave me my start into animal communication. Because at the time, I was teaching music in my house. We're going to call this 2000-ish. I'm so bad at dates. 2000-ish, 2003-ish, 2005-ish, that neck of the woods. And I was teaching music in my house, and I had two dogs. And one of the dogs passed away, and I knew I needed another dog. Not to replace Squirty, not at all, but because the energy in our household, and I wouldn't have used those words at the time, but the energy in our household had a hole in it. With Squirty being gone. So I just knew that I needed another dog. It was that simple. So I took my dog, Emmy, and we went to the Humane Society. We walked in, and just as you walk in there in the welcoming area, you know, there was this big, well, not big. He was a small dog at the time, but he was fat. His little tummy went all the way down to the floor, and he was dirty and he was filthy. And he even had burrs on his fur and everything. And he had the biggest smile on his face. And this is no joke, because you can't make this stuff up. Attached to his tail was a little puppy. And this little puppy was attached to Teddy's tail, and Teddy was dragging him around, and they were having so much fun. And I walked in, and I'm going, that's my dog. But because I was not connected into animal communication and in using my intuition in that way, at that time, I had my list with me, my list of what I was looking for and a new dog to join our household. And it was a very thorough list. And so I'm talking to the people there. And my dog, Emmy, as I'm talking to the people, she's already making friends with Teddy. They're already bestest buds, which should have told me something right there. But anyway, on my list, one of the questions was, does he keep his kennel clean? And they said, yes, he does. So cool, that's my dog. So took Teddy home and got him home. Literally the first thing he did when he got in the house was lift his leg and pee, literally. And I just thought, okay, new house, new surroundings, marking his territory, cool. Well, it went from bad to worse. It went from worse to extremely very worse. And so I called the vet when he'd had a vet check, but I called the vet again and I said, okay, is there anything physically that would be causing this? And part of me had my fingers crossed, you know, because he was 8 years old at the time. I'm going, oh, please let there be a physical thing going on. We can give him a pill and then it will be done with. And the vet said, he's really healthy. It's not physical. I'm going, oh, crap. Worked with a trainer, and that trainer we shouldn't have been working together, but I didn't realize it at the time. So I stopped working with her. And literally one day I am sitting in front of the fireplace because I lived in Minnesota. Ad falls into my lap, animal communicator. And I literally thought, what the heck? I've tried everything else. So I called her. She was in my neck of the woods. She came out. She talked to me and Teddy. We both had homework to do, and the rest is history. I will say that Teddy kept the house clean, basically, literally to his dying day. And he passed when he was 17 years old. So, that's quite a long time to keep the house clean. And I had homework, and Teddy had homework. And at the end of working with the communicator, Teddy told me through the communicator, because I still didn't believe that I could do it, that he got an A+ for all the work that was done. I only got an A-. He did the hard work. I worked hard, but I didn't do the really hard work. And when you look at it from Teddy's perspective, that's true. So that is how I became an animal communicator. And if you're interested in reading the whole story, because believe me, it's much more convoluted and longer than that. You can just go to my website, janetroper.com, and then search how I became an animal communicator. All right, so you've already heard the things that I love about animal communication. I love how it deepens the bond between the animals and humans. And as a teacher, I love when I see that the human, that all of a sudden this light bulb goes off, and they'll go, Janet, did you know that when I talk to my dog Rover, that he understands it? Yeah, it's true. It's true. One of my clients was having troubles listening to her dog, and she wasn't understanding him, excuse me. And so I said, well, ask him for a sign and that he will give you. If you ask him a yes/no question, ask him what the sign is for yes, ask him what the sign is for no. And I forget the exact details of what she had worked out with him, but basically if it was a no, or excuse me, if it was a yes, he blinked his eyes. And to this day, whenever she wants to know something from him, she will ask him, and if it's a yes, he blinks his eyes. And that is the beauty and the power and the truth of animal communication. I delight in witnessing when the person realizes that they can talk to the animals in that deeper, profound way, and that at that point, the animals become more than just pets. Now, I'm pretty sure that all of us who are on this call together, we already know that animals are more than just pets. But still in all, there is that line that is crossed when people realize that, and it's just like, whoa, the world opens up. It's glorious to witness. I love it when people realize that we all can connect with the animals. We all have the ability. We don't all have the desire, but we all have the ability. And if you get nothing else out of tonight's talk, out of our conversation tonight, remember, we all have the ability to connect with the animals. And I love what happens when people realize that the animals can be our guides and our teachers and can be our leaders. Because so many times, people, it's the dog, it's the family dog. They're not realizing that the family dog can also be the family sage, the family guru. And that is not hyperbole. Not every dog, of course, is a sage or a guru. But there are animals that are. And when people start recognizing that, it's lovely to watch. To me, animal communication, so beneficial on so many ways. You get the point of view directly from the animal. So for instance, when Billy, my cat Billy, that passed away in February, when he was sick, I was asking him, what do you need? How can I help you? Do you want to go see the vet? And then I would get the answers. And because what he was going through was pretty severe, and I was scared, so there was kind of like, not a block, but I was very cautious about the information that I was getting from him. I didn't want to be projecting my thoughts of what he should be doing on his life journey onto him. So I have a friend in Minneapolis who is a communicator also. And I would run it by her, and she'd go, yeah, that's what he's telling you. He's telling you he doesn't want to go to the vet until the very last time. So you get the point of view directly from the animals. You don't have to Google it. You don't have to ask your neighbor what happens when your bird is doing this. Have you ever experienced that? What's happened? You can go directly to your bird and say, what's going on? And yes, it takes time and it takes practice, but eventually you get the answers. You can learn about potential health issues before they become a problem. For instance, my dog Max, he's got a hitch in his giddy up. And he's older, he's 14, and it's like, 12. How did he get to be 12? I still remember him as a 4-year-old. That's how I think of him. But now as he's getting older, I will ask him, how's his hip doing? Do you need that extra dose of medicine to help you along? And he'll say yes or no. And I know that I can trust Max to tell me exactly what he's feeling. Interpreting it is something that we'll talk about a little bit later. But as far as getting the information from the dog, from Max, I know I can trust him with that. You can discover possible explanations for behavior. If Kitty is not going in the litter box, you can find out what's going on with that. And a lot of times, something specifically with that, Kitty not going in the litter box, I will get the information from the cat, we'll tell the person, and then the next thing I'm saying is, and I would recommend that you talk to your vet about this. Or I recommend that if you're interested in chiropractic or energy work or kinesiology, I have some referrals for you. So the animal communication session itself, we get information and then we expand upon that information that comes directly from the animal afterwards. Animal communication helps in the dying and death process, in the hospice process, and that's, to me, that's the most moving. As a matter of fact, I think that in my shamanic work, that is where I'm going to be working the most with the animals and their people. But it really helps the person to know in hindsight and at the time that they've done for their animal what they can. Quick example, my dog Emmy, 5 years ago, I was living in Belle Plaine, Minnesota at the time. She was aging. It was her turn to pass, and she wanted to pass at home. She wanted to make that transition at home in the company of her animal family and me. And so I called the vet and said, would you come out? Her vet and her vet tech did. And so it was very peaceful, Emmy passing at home. My cat Mitzi, on the other hand, she was bound and determined that she was going to go into the vet's office. She got sick over a holiday weekend. And she was bound and determined. She stuck around until I forget if it was Monday or Tuesday, that I could get her to the vet. And the reason I did not take her to the emergency vet is that where I lived at the time, the emergency vet was at least an hour and a half drive away, and that would have really stressed her out. And I asked her, and she didn't want to do it. So that really, communicating with the animals helps in those situations. And the creme de la creme, as far as I'm concerned, is that we are meeting the animals naturally where they talk with each other and where they communicate with us. We're not expecting them to understand English or French or Spanish or any other language. We are meeting them on their home territory. And that home territory is one that is natural to us, but we have set it aside. We've been told that it's not natural. So we are in the place of where we are learning to reconnect with our intuition and connect with the animals again. So I'll be so glad when we get some rain. We have not had any rain for probably 2 months, and it's really dry here. But I digress. My most asked question is, can anyone communicate with the animals? And the answer is, a big drum roll, yes. We can all communicate with the animals. We don't all have the desire to do so, and that makes sense. I can do my taxes. I don't have the desire to do them, but I can do my taxes. Same thing with animal communication. Special gifts are not needed, okay? So you don't need to be psychic. You don't need to be specially gifted, okay? And actually, that's one of my soapboxes. Everybody can connect with the animals if they have that desire. Different ways, different forms, but everybody can do it. All that we need is a willingness to connect with the animals, and that willingness right there, that's going to get you a heck of a long way, okay? We need the willingness to connect, and we need the, I would use the word courage, okay? The willingness and the courage to go beyond our human foibles and our human perspectives and look at the world in a different way. And when it does, it truly, when you start doing that, it truly opens a kaleidoscope of new possibilities and new things that are going on. Okay, I'm going to start off with what animal communication is not. Before we do that, does anybody have any questions to type into the chat? Okay. I'm not seeing any. And I assume that if you do have questions, you will put them in the chat or hold them until we get to our official question and answer period at the end. Animal communication is not magic. And what I mean by that is that you're not going to call me or any other animal communicator that I'm aware of, okay, and set up a half-hour appointment because Kitty's been peeing outside of the litter box for 7 years, and that's a true story that I experienced, and it's not going to be solved in a half hour, okay? First of all, if this has been going on for 7 years, there are deep problems that need to be addressed. And just like us humans, when the animals are making changes, it takes time. And the relationship, think about this, the relationship is between you and the animal, okay? I'm there as a guide. I journey with you. I walk with you. My job is not to change the relationship between you and the animal. So my job is not to say, yeah, you know, you're going to talk to me in this half-hour conversation, and you know what, Susie Q, if you do A, B, C, D, and E, your cat is going to be wonderful, okay? That's not my job. My job is to help you and the animal come in right relationship, come in equal relationship with each other. Animal communication is not a medical diagnosis, prescription, or a treatment. And if you run into a communicator, and I do mean this quite seriously, if you run into a communicator that says, you know, your dog told me that he needs, and then name off some medication, okay? Unless that communicator has specific, certified, and quantifiable training in that area. Our job as communicators is to talk to the animals to see what they're experiencing, okay? So when I'm talking to an animal, a lot of times what I'll get is, like when I go out to a barn and talk to horses, and the horse will say, or excuse me, I'll get out of the car at the barn and my lower back will start hurting. I'm going, what the heck is that about? It was not hurting on the drive over here. It was not hurting before I got here. I get to the barn, get out of the car, and my lower back is hurting. That's the animal sending me the information that their back is hurting. Part of what I do as a communicator and working with the energy is to discern as best I can where that is, to tell the person that, you know, this is what your animal is telling me, that their back is hurting, and then pointing it out as best I can. But it is not a diagnosis. It is coming from the animal's perspective. It's coming from the animal's perspective. So I always preface things like that. This is what your animal is telling me. Might go on and say it may indicate, call your vet. Many people, actually I would say most people who haven't worked with me a lot, they are just absolutely shocked when I will say, usually the first words out of my mouth are like, have you called the vet? What did the vet have to say about this? Because animal communication is not a bypass for either medical care or good training. Okay, it complements them, but it's not a bypass. And as far as a replacement for training, it's not. I can find out from the animal's perspective what's going on with the training, what's going on with the trainer, what they think of the trainer, if they have ideas of what would help. But I am not a trainer. Again, this is coming from the animal. So in situations where I'm working with the animal, where the issue that is brought up is about training, I will tell the person, this is what your animal is telling me. This can help. Now, a lot of times, because I'm not a trainer, and because I'm not a vet or a medical intuitive, I don't have the languaging to say specifically what it is. But I can say, it feels like this, it feels like that. Talk to the trainer. They'll be able to translate that. To talk to the vet, they'll be able to translate that into how that, technically, the information they need to help your animal. So those are the things that animal communication is not. It's not magic, it's not a bypass for medical care, and it's not a bypass for training. What animal communication is, it's the natural, innate way that we communicate with other sentient beings. And because on this call we're talking animal communication, okay, we are mostly talking animals. Hello, yes, Janet, that makes sense, okay? But it's also a way that we can connect with the rocks, the wind, the stones, anything that is on this earth, the grass, the trees, the flowers, the river, that is a sentient being, and we can connect with them. Animal communication is connecting to and developing a relationship with animals through your intuition. So when I'm doing that, what is happening is I'm getting information that's not in the our everyday physical world. Okay, so the animal, this might sound kind of silly, it actually is kind of silly, but the animal's not going to hold up a piece of paper that I'm going to read and say, oh, and Fluffy said yada, 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 yada. Okay, I'm picking up information, clues if you want to call them clues. And it's taking those clues, those puzzle pieces, and putting them together and helping the animals say what they need to say and translate that to the human so that they understand it. So when we are in an active relationship directly with the animals, and when we are, excuse me, when we are in a two-way conversation directly with the animals or with any sentient being, resolutions of problems are created, and everybody, regardless of the species, it's a win-win. Now, sometimes the win-win solutions are not the ones that humans want. And that can be very heartbreaking. For instance, if it's time for the animal to pass on, and the human is not ready for that. There are times when animals come into our life and we're just a way station for them. They're with us for 24, 48, 2 hours, 2 weeks, whatever, you know, and then they move on, and that can be difficult. But we need to keep in mind that the animals, just like we humans do, they have their own things that they want to accomplish in this life, and they have their own goals that they want to do. And most of them know how to get it, how to get those goals met. So how it works with animal communication, and I'm going to go into more detail about this later, is that you have that purposeful connection with the animal. So when I'm connected with the animals, with my own animals, and most especially with my clients, the humans and the animal clients, okay? I'm not on my cell phone, I'm not listening to music, I'm not doing anything else except literally face-to-face, and that's probably virtually face-to-face with that client, talking to them. And my attention is 120%, at least 120% on the human and on the animal. Information is both sent and received through our senses. So it's clairsentience, okay? That is when the information, clair, first of all, means clear, C-L-A-I-R. And you'll see clairsentience, clairvoyance, I forget the others, there's 5 or 6 of them. And what it means is that that information is coming through our senses. So we can get the information from the animals, we can hear it, we can see pictures in our mind, we can see like a movie screen in our mind. Some people will smell the information. I've never done that, knock on wood, or rarely done that. When I do receive information that way, I know it's something for me to wake up and really pay attention to, because the animals normally do not connect with me that way. You can have that hunch feeling. You feel it in your gut, you know, and you go, just know I got to do this. I don't know why, but I know better than I know my own name that I need to do this for my dog or for my cat or my horse or my bird or my snake. Information comes that way. It comes through dreams. So however the information comes to you is the right way for you at that time. As my horse Shiloh says, there's no wrong way to do animal communication except if you don't do it at all. And he was very specific about that. The other thing to remember is that as we are receiving that information, there's like an energetic, the best way I can put it is that there's like a timestamp on it. So if I'm talking to a cat named Harry and a cat named Billy and a cat named Shysters and a cat named Mitzi, the information I get from each cat is different. Excuse me. The information is different, but also the feeling behind it is different. It's like talking to different people. Okay, when you're talking with your best friend, there's a gut feeling of what it feels like to talk to that person. Same with the animals. And that information, that timestamp, so to speak, goes directly from the animal to the person, from the person to the animal. It's a back and forth kind of thing. The nice thing about animal communication is barriers of time and space don't exist. So it doesn't make any difference If I'm talking to one of the animals that's in my house, if I'm talking to one of the animals in the wild that's in my backyard, or if I'm talking to an animal that's halfway across the United States or halfway across the world. Because those barriers are man-made, so to speak, okay? When we're in the world of using our intuition and deepening our brainwaves, those barriers don't exist. So just a reminder, excuse me. Just a reminder to be taking screenshots or taking notes, however you want to take notes, because there's that surprise at the end. So now, are you guys ready? We're going to do an exercise. Okay, I've been yada, yada, yada-ing quite a bit about this, and now it's time to do an exercise. And this is, to me, a very important start in connecting with the animals. As a matter of fact, it's essential. Okay, because one of the things that's going to come from this exercise is you're going to start consciously moving into the world of animal communication. You're going to start consciously moving out of the world, our human world, of doing the laundry and taking the car in and getting the tires rotated and getting, you know, the car wash and fill it up with gas, that kind of stuff, into the world of animals. And we need to learn how to do that consciously. So I call it a circle of quiet. We are going to create a circle of quiet. And then after this, each one of you is going to have, or excuse me, all of you are going to have time to connect with an animal. Okay? And I'll give you more information on that afterwards. But you have created your circle of quiet. You'll have time to communicate with an animal. And then afterwards, I will unmute folks, or you can put it in the chat if anybody wants to share what it was like to communicate with the animal. So the first thing that you do, let me move this so everybody can see it, okay, is when you are creating your circle of quiet, you go to a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. And you're probably thinking, hello, Janet, yes, I know that because you said it was a circle of quiet, so the place has got to be quiet. Well, yes, it is true. But also, I don't mean quiet in absence of most of the noise. I mean quiet in absence of anything that will distract you. Okay? That could actually be your animals. If you need to be in a place where you won't be distracted by your animals, if you need to be in a place where you're not distracted by family members, if you need to go either outdoors to a quiet spot and just tell, you know, the folks that are around you, hey, you know what, for the next 10 or 15 minutes, please don't disturb me. And then you just start working on that and setting up your boundaries, so to speak. You know, when I'm in this spot outside or when I'm in this room and the door is closed, please don't disturb me. I'm connecting with the animals. So you go to that quiet place where you won't be disturbed. You then start to quiet your body. And if anyone here does meditation, you're familiar with the process of quieting your body, okay? For those of you who might be like me, and whenever you hear the word meditation, you get that deer in the headlights stare. What meditation simply is doing whatever gives you life. One of the ways that I connect and meditate and quiet my body is I focus on my breathing. So I'm going to give you a couple of ways to do here. I'm going to invite you to do it with me. So the first way is I quiet myself and I'm seated very comfortably. And what I do is I imagine pulling up the energy through my left foot, up my left leg, left side of my body, having it come up to my crown, holding for a moment, and then releasing it down through the right side of my body, through my right leg, through my right foot, back down to Mother Earth. And I do that in connection with the breathing. So what I will do is I will inhale to the count of 3, and that is when I bring up energy from the left side. I will hold on the count of 3, and that's where the energy is taking toxins and, you know, monkey mind away from you, and exhaling to the count of 3 on the right side. So that those toxins, that monkey mind stuff, that is going out of my body into the earth to be recycled. However, Mother Earth decides to recycle it. So let's take a moment to do that, okay? Invite you to get comfortable. Close your eyes and be in a quiet place. And to the count of 3, inhale through the left side, your left foot. 1, 2, 3. Hold your breath at the crown. 1, 2, 3. Exhale through the right. 1, 2, 3. We'll do that a couple more times. Inhale through the left. 1, 2, 3. Hold your breath at the crown. 1, 2, 3. And exhale on the right. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Hold. 2, 3. Exhale. 2, 3. As you started to quiet your body, your mind has also started to quiet. If there are any little monkey mind thoughts running through, just do that breathing exercise again. And think of breathing through the left. 2, 3. Hold. 2, 3. And release. 2, 3. The next thing you will do is ask permission to speak with an animal. Actually ask an animal to come forward. Then you ask permission to speak with that animal, because just like with us humans, okay, remember those magical words that we learned when we were little kids? Please, may I, and thank you. Really important to use in animal communication. The reason being is that puts the animals on equal footing where we consider our humanness to be. Okay, so it's kind of like a mind game kind of thing, in the sense that by being respectful to the animals, we are showing them the respect that is their natural, what they deserve naturally. So those please, may I, and thank you really help to put us in that equal position with the animal. And honor the animal's response. If you get a no, that's okay. It really is okay, because do you feel like talking to everybody all the time? The animal might be tired, might be in a bad mood, might have something else on their mind, might want to play, okay? So if the animal says no, honor that. And just sit in peace with the animal if they are willing to do so. If they're not, that's okay. If the animal says maybe, that's okay too. Okay? Because when you get no's and when you get maybes, what you're doing is you are starting to create a rich texture of what the animals are looking for when you come to communicate with them. And I know that might sound like an oxymoron, but it's true. It is true. And then if the animal says yes, you've got the go ahead, have your conversation. Everything is hunky-dory. As you're having that conversation, respond to any feelings, thoughts, pictures that you receive. So if you're talking to your dog and you get a picture of him standing at the door, okay, is that his signal that he wants to go for a walk? Is he telling you in the conversation that he wants to go for a walk? If you talk to your cat, okay, and your cat is hiding under the bed, ask your cat what they mean by sending you that picture. You can always ask for clarification. At the end of the conversation, remember to thank the animals for being in connection with you. So that is creating the circle of quiet. The great thing about the circle of quiet is that, oh, my internet connection is unstable. I hope that we stay connected. When we are in that circle of quiet, you've done 3 things. You've stilled yourself, you've connected with another sentient being, with an animal in this case, and you've had a conversation with another species. How does it get better than that? Tell me, how does it get better than that? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you a few minutes to practice with your own animal. Does anybody have any questions about, well, let me go through what you'll be doing first, and then I'll ask for questions. Got the horse before the cart there, or the cart before the horse, excuse me. So when you're practicing, first of all, practice with an animal of your own. Okay, it could be one that's in the house with you. Okay, if you've got outdoor cats, could be an outdoor cat, but not a neighbor's. Okay, not a neighbor's animal. Don't talk to your neighbor's dog because you want them to quit barking, okay? That has to do with ethics and boundaries, and we don't have time to go into that. But just for now, particularly at the beginning, talk with your own animals, okay? If it's an animal that you particularly loved as a child, ask that animal to come forward. Because remember, time and space don't exist, so you can connect with angel animals, okay? You can also, if you want, talk to a squirrel in your backyard, okay? So you're going to create your circle of quiet, ask what animal who would like to come forward, and then you wait for the animal to come forward. When the animal comes forward, is it okay if we chat? Now a good time to chat. Most likely, if they've come forward, they're willing to chat with you, most likely, okay? Remember, if they say no or maybe, respect that. And just breathe, practice your breathing. Maybe they came to you to be with you as you were practicing your breathing. Some of the questions you can ask them, how are you feeling? And that could be either physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. What do you think about whatever, fill in the blank there. What do you need from me? How can I help you? And then you can think of a situation that's going on in the household. And, what do you think about such and such and such and such? Do you have any ideas of how we can work with that situation? How would that situation be better for you? Now, this that I'm going to tell you is, again, if you don't remember anything else from tonight's call other than the fact that everybody can talk to the animals, remember this. Trust what you get from the animals. Trust. If you're talking to a dog and you see a big bowl of spaghetti, trust it, okay? I'm going out on a limb and I'm going to say there's probably something there. There is something there in some way, shape, or form that dog is trying to relate to you through that bowl of spaghetti. It's just a matter of discerning. I'm going to go out on another limb and say, for those of you who this is your first time doing it, the animals will be kind, okay? I've never experienced an animal pulling somebody's leg, okay, or teasing them or joking with them, something like that, okay? Yeah, telling jokes, but not laughing at the person or anything like that. So, are there any questions about what to do right now? Okay, Cindy is saying there are no questions. I'm going to unmute people for just a moment. Oh, heck, I've got to figure out how to do that now. Whoa. Okay. Cindy, I'm going to unmute you again.
Okay.
Okay, there you are. And you can mute yourself if you need to. Okay, so if there are any questions, and I'm not seeing any, let's just take 3 minutes to create your circle of quiet, and then to connect with an animal, and let's see what happens. And I will be the timer, and I will call you back in 3 minutes. And let's have you start to come back to thank the animal that you were talking with. To thank them for being with you tonight and for helping you on this experience. So, feel yourself back in what I call the real world, the physical world. Feel your rear, where it's seated. Feel the ground underneath your feet. Start smelling the smells that are around you. Start hearing the physical sounds that are around you. That grounds you back into the physical world. And would anybody like to share what that experience was like for you tonight?
Hey, Janet.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of cats, and one didn't want to talk. Just said no. The other one didn't. What was annoyed that that this neighbor's cat that they abandoned moved in with us.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily, she was annoyed because she thinks she's the elder cat, and wasn't getting the attention that the type of attention that she needed.
Okay.
So even though my husband and I both pay attention to our animals, the one wasn't particularly happy with this.
So,
Another cat.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. So first of all, okay, if I ask you some questions about this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how did you receive that information? How did that information come to you?
I'm Claire Audio, so I heard it.
Okay. Well, thank you. I always forget all those. Yes. And was it like hearing words in your room? So like somebody was in the room speaking to you, or was it like hearing words in your head?
In my head.
Okay, because it can go either way.
Right.
Yeah, most commonly it's we hear words in our head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now that you've got that information, okay, and it sounds like the cat was pretty specific in saying what was needed. How can you take that information and work it so that's a win-win for everybody?
I didn't get that far with her because she was pretty adamant that she didn't want another cat in the house.
Mm-hmm.
She felt like she's raised enough youngsters since we had multiple cats because of dealing with feral cats and fixing them and having the kittens that we fall in love with. So she thinks she's had to put up with enough youngsters.
Okay.
So I hadn't gotten any further with her about what she wanted to do with it.
Okay. All right. Is it okay if I throw out something to you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So would it be possible to talk to her with perhaps giving her this thought or this idea that she doesn't have to raise any? That part is over with.
Oh, that's good. Just to tell her that.
Yeah. So that she's not in charge, so to speak. She doesn't have the responsibility unless she wants it.
And this is not a kitten. This one's a 2-year-old. And most of the other ones we've ever heard have been kittens.
Okay. So that's, when you're in a family unit, regardless of species, and I'm saying that you can tell her this, that, y'all work together. And if she doesn't feel like doing the gig, then, she just lets you know that, which she has. And then y'all think of something a different way to get that taken care of.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually a good thing to point out to her. I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Anybody else care to share? You can unmute yourself. If you roll over by your name, you should see where you can unmute yourself. And you can go ahead and ask the questions. It would be just unmuting you.
Janet, hi, can you hear me?
Oh, hi, Felipa. Yes, I can hear you.
So, my name's Philippa. I'm from Santa Cruz, California.
Hello there.
I should say we've been working with an animal communicator for many years.
Okay.
And the reason that I'm on the call is because more and more I've been wondering not that I don't want to, consult her anymore, but just could I do this myself?
Yes.
Right. And I'm one of the people, like you mentioned, that if you say meditate to me, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because I start counting to 3 and I'm already distracted by something, because my mind doesn't stop. It does not stop. But anyway, I tried the breathing and stuff. And what was interesting was that my beloved cat, who died 3.5 years ago, I didn't even have to ask. She just jumped straight in.
Yes.
And she was a great teacher to me, but it was very interesting because I just felt her. Literally, I'm sitting in the chair that we used to sit in together, and I could feel her brush by me, and I could feel her sitting in the chair.
Wow.
And she showed me lots of pictures of how we used to hang out together.
Wow.
But when I asked her if she wanted to talk, it was kind of like, I didn't even hear any words. I just felt like, no, I just want to hang out. And then when you said, okay, that's it, it was very hard to let her go.
Okay. All right. A couple things. First of all, you can always ask her to come back.
Right. Yeah.
Always. And as you've experienced, Jess, you too can talk to the animals. You just did it. Okay. This was, in a way, I look at the practices that we do on calls like these. I look at them as kind of difficult because we've only got a short time. It's kind of like you have to hurry up and connect. You have to hurry up and do this, and you have to hurry up and do that kind of thing. And then you have to get back and, talk about this and that and the other. So we don't have the luxury on these calls to really spread it out. Where it's just we're taking whatever time is needed. Part of animal communication, in my experience, is being willing to sit in the mystery of what comes next. Mm-hmm. And sitting in the mystery does not mean, and believe me, this is not music to my ears, to my own personal ears. Sitting in the mystery does not mean that, okay, I'm going to talk, Shiloh and I are going to have this conversation now, and he's my angel horse, and he's going to give me all these wise and profound answers, and which, he usually does. He's quite capable of doing that. And then everything's going to be hunky-dory, and then I'm going to go on, and I'm going to go on to the next thing. There is something that is very significant and very essential about being willing to wait in the void, so to speak, or to wait in the mystery of what's coming up, and to giving that animal the luxury of letting them say what they need to in the way they need to say it and in the time frame that they need to say it. So I invite all of you to go back to the animal that connected with you tonight. When you really are in a place of where you can have a circle of quiet, and where you really can connect with that animal. Sometimes, when I say talk to the animals, first of all, that used to be the name of my business, okay? And as you can tell, I'm an extrovert and I like to talk. So that's natural for me to say it. But when I say talk, what I actually mean is experience. You're going to experience that animal. It may be through words, through pictures, through feelings, as you did, Philippa, because you experience that quite deeply, it feels like. Connecting. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes just being together is the conversation. Mm-hmm. Is the connection. There's nothing profound that happens. You're not solving the mysteries of the world, you're not solving the problems of the world. So in that sense, it's not profound. But when you take it a step further, it's the most profound experience there is, because you and that animal are connecting and are at peace with each other. Mm-hmm. And it is my true belief that, and I feel this down to the depth of my soul, that when we are in connection with animals like that, whether it's just, once in a lifetime, or if you do it, like once every 7 years or whatever. But anytime we are in connection with animals to that deep of a level, we are truly changing the world. We are making the world a better place.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm. And then I do want to say something about meditation, because, people say meditation to me and I glaze over, and it's like, I don't even know what the heck you're talking about. What I have found, if instead of using the word meditation, I substitute and say, do whatever gives me life, that is actually meditation. Okay, because I always pictured meditation, you're sitting on the yoga mat and you've got this wonderful deep breathing going and you're just out into another land for however X number of minutes or hours or whatever. And I can't do it. That's not me. That is not me. That's not how I find life, by doing that. Because my mind is always going, and it's going to go more in a situation like that to figure out how to get out of that situation. So meditation, the way I define it and describe it and experience it, is whatever gives you life. For me, that's listening to music. For me, that is walking with my dog. It could be out in nature. For me, it truly is. I love being in a hammock. When I'm in a hammock, I truly go to Janet Place. And that is meditation for me. And what's happening when we are doing those things that give us life, and one way you can tell is if you're doing this, okay, whatever it is that you're doing, I'm just going to say you're painting. Pull that out of the air, okay? So you're painting because that gives you life. And you think 20 minutes have passed, and the next thing you know, you've been there for 2.5 hours. That's meditation. Could be baking for people. It could be cooking. It could be building something, okay? But whatever it is for you, that is your ticket to animal communication, to connecting with the animals. That is the ticket that you can use as you are creating your circle of quiet, so to speak. Anybody else? Okay, hold on one second. Let me move this. If you are not able to connect with an animal, that's okay. Truly, and I'm not saying that to like pat you on the back and say, oh yeah, that's fine, everything's going to be okay. No, I sincerely mean it. That's okay. Because the one thing that is very important in the world of animal communication is that we are out of our time and into the animal's time. And the animals are so good at knowing where we are at and when we are ready to hear something. So if you were not able to connect with an animal, that's fine. What happened is you still got information. You still got information, okay? Yes, it was about how did this affect me? Okay, excuse me. Man, if y'all could send some good vibes this way for some rain, we desperately need it to get rid of this smoke. One more sip, hold on, sorry. So there are times when the animals don't talk to me. And I look at it as, okay, it's not the time to talk with that animal because, and the animals are much wiser at this, I found, than we are, because I got my schedule when I'm going to be talking to the animals. And the way I do my work, you know, basically somebody sends me a request and then I tell them within 3 business days, you know, I'll get the response back to you. And I do that, first of all, to give me time, but second of all, and actually this is the first reason, is to give the animal time. If the animal doesn't want to talk the first time I connect with them, I can connect later. And I can connect later. When the animal doesn't want to talk the first time, it gives me the opportunity to look at myself. Do I need to calm myself down? Was I pushing too hard? Was I expecting too much? Was I projecting what I wanted to hear? And I'm not saying that if an animal did not show up tonight, that that's what was happening. I'm saying that those are questions that I ask myself. So, hold on a minute, Shilese. You know, we're past time. If anybody wants to hang up, fine. You're still going to get the recording afterwards. Shiloh is here, and if anybody wants to hang out with me, I will be here while Shiloh is talking and for a few minutes afterwards. So it's up to you. If you need to leave, I get it. And like I say, you'll get the recording. And thank you for being on the call tonight. And you'll hear what Shiloh has to say. Shiloh, buddy, what have you got to say? Shiloh is saying that okay, hold on. This is him talking. I just think it's rather humorous that you people think that we animals need to talk on your time. We don't. We talk on our own time. We talk on our own time. And you know what? There's times when we're not talking to you, but we're still connecting with you. We're still connecting with you. We're still watching you. We're still in a profound connection with you. We're just not communicating. That's from Shiloh. So anytime an animal is not communicating with you, look for that profound connection. Look for it. And I have discovered, Shiloh's agreeing here, that that profound connection when I'm going through, oh, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? No. I need to sometimes what I call step away from it, put that, what I'm looking for, on the back burner and let it come to me. I am a queen bee of asking the animals to come to me, to give me the information, to let me know when it's time, simply because it makes more sense to me to do it that way. I don't want to always be like knocking on Shiloh's door, his angelic door, saying, Shiloh, can we talk now? Can we talk now? Can we talk now? Shiloh's got an open invitation to come to me whenever he feels the need, or whenever he feels that I need him. So sometimes when we are in that profound connection with the animals, we are setting up a beautiful space for that animal and future animals to come talk to us. So if you didn't get what you expected to get tonight, you still got something. And that, my folks, is animal communication. So, wow, we just went through so much tonight. So much. Okay, and those screenshots and, you know, writing your notes and everything. There we go. If you so desire, as a thank you for being on the call, and I truly appreciate y'all being on the call tonight. I truly do. And for hanging around, because I know we're past time. If you are of the ilk to do this, please send me a picture of your notes. You know, send an attachment in an email, and you'll be getting a follow-up email about this call tonight. You'll get it tomorrow because I have to wait for the recording to be done. So you'll be getting the recording too. But in that email, if you would like to send me a picture of one of your animals, let me know if they are alive or deceased, one question you have for them, and then a little bit of background information, what their name is, how old they are, a little bit of history, that kind of stuff. I am happy to do that communication for you as a thank you for being on tonight's call. I do need to have a picture. I do need to know if they are alive or deceased, and then we'll just take it from there. And one question. That one question, I do need to do that. And it'll be in the email, but it's janet@janetroper.com. So I hope you've enjoyed this call tonight, and I hope you're discovering how much you're already connected to the animals. It is truly my belief that if you, first of all, on this call, birds of a feather flock together and all that good stuff, you're already communicating. You may not call it that, you may not recognize it as such, but you're already communicating with your animals. And that is just a wonderful thing. Wonderful thing. Ways we can stay connected. Excuse me. I do the monthly conference calls last Thursday of the month. And if you're on my newsletter list, my email list, and that's another way we can stay connected, is you'll get information about that and about the workshops that I give and about how you can join with me on Facebook, either as Janet Roper or my business page, which is Talk to the Animals, and that's talk with the number 2. And so if you would like to host your own animal communication class, the host gets the class for free. And all you need to do is sign up some of your buddies. And I will be sending you information on that in the magical email that you get tomorrow from me. And it'll tell you how you can host a class and how you can learn animal communication in the company of your friends. And so I thank you for being here tonight. I really do appreciate all of you taking time from your schedule to come and to explore the world of animal communication with me and to listen to my experiences and my perceptions of animal communication. As I said, you know, there's a million ways you can get started communicating. This is the way that I work in communicating. Other people work different ways, but what you've done tonight is you've taken a step into the world of animal communication, and the animals thank you for that. So thank you so much for being on tonight's call. I will connect with all of you, I hope, in the future, and have fun talking to the animals. Take good care. Good night.